welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, and you're tuned in to the Grayson Show, Girl Talk International Month. We are wrapping it up with the one and only TAG, Tijuana Gholson, my girl, my friend, my heart. Girl, welcome to the show.
Lord, thank you so much for having me, and happy Women's History Month, everybody.
Thank you. And lady, you are making history.
Oh my.
You are. So tell people who you are and what you do.
Well, I am Tijuana Gholson. I'm a multiple blessed to be serving in the capacity of a multiple business owner. I'm a nonprofit founder. I'm an investor. I like to invest in other people's dreams. Call myself a community strategist because my husband and I, we do a lot of work in the community with our localities. Community organizer, freedom fighter, part of the NAACP. I'm a business coach, and some people refer to me as their mentor. But first and foremost, I am a woman who loves God. I am a wife. I am a mother. And I like to call myself the coolest Nana in the world. At least that's what my grandboys say.
I love it. So, Tijuana, you know what? You are a serialpreneur.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't say that lightly because we've done some business together and you've done some mentoring. You helped me. If it wasn't for you and Karen, me getting here, I don't think I would have been. I don't think I'd still be here.
Oh,
You know, you wrapped me in your heart and your arms and introduced me to your friends and the social. I was able to fit in the community. So I want to say, first of all, thank you. Thank you for that.
humbled by that.
Because I don't think I could have made it without you. And
Thank
so I do speak highly of you, and I'm so excited because you're that person for me. So as you say, mentor, femtor for me. You're my
Oh.
femtor, and
Oh.
so I do appreciate you and all the things that you do. I mean, even just giving back to the community and helping, even the way you set up the store at the property that I was at. It wasn't for you; it was to help the community.
Yeah.
The business deals and the things that you brought us women together to do. That was amazing. Who does that? So you will always have a special part in my heart because you are for real. Some people are just fake and I do this. No, you the real deal.
You're going to make me cry over here.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
I'm
So
overwhelmed.
I am proud of you and I'm proud of Mr. G as well because,
Thank you.
you guys are a power couple and you guys work hand in hand and I love it. When I met you both together. Well, I met you at the event with Karen, but
Right.
then when y'all came to see me, it was together and I felt like family. I felt
Yeah.
like family and you guys, we had so much fun. It was natural. It was a natural relationship building, bonding, professional and friendly. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it was all of it wrapped into one, and so I didn't feel uncomfortable and meeting new people. I've never would have met all those women if it wasn't for you. I wouldn't be in this group, your lips group. I wouldn't be in any of that if it wasn't for you, and I think that helped a whole lot with what I did in military. It helped a whole lot that turning my world around. So I just wanted to get that out because it is International Women's Month, Black History Women's Month. You are part of all of that. And so I want to say thank you for being a shero.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for those words that are overwhelming my heart right now. And I must say, to God be all the glory. I like to fashion myself as a vessel and be used. So oftentimes when folks are saying thank you to me, sometimes it's difficult to grasp because I'm like, oh, I was just doing what I was supposed to do. Or I was just doing what God put me here to do. So I don't put it on myself. So to hear that just it overwhelms my heart for a moment. So thank you so much for saying that. Appreciate
You're welcome.
you.
You're welcome. You're so precious to me. So you're a business, you do multiple business, you do nonprofit, you're an investor, you're a community strategist, you do all of this. Why business ownership?
Well, I get asked that question so much that I have to really think about it sometimes. Initially, Well, I'll start with this. I always knew or had some kind of idea that I was going to. Um, I didn't know the word entrepreneur, of course, growing up as a child because of exposure. But I knew that I was going to be doing something that was different because I was always that kid that beat to her own drum and never could, just never could fit in. I was that kid. I got experiences of being bullied, all of that. I was that kid because I always wanted to be or always operated, not that I wanted to be, but operated differently. And as a teenager, I started dreaming. Actually, with my husband, I've known him since I was 13.
Wow.
We've been, yes, it's amazing now to even say those words. And I'm saying that to my grandkids. My grandson asked me the other day, Nina, when you and Papa meet? I'm like, and he's 15. I'm like, 13 and 14 years old, Well, he was like, I don't know. I'm gonna find me a girl that long that I can marry. But anyway, I said, oh, who knows?
Oh, that's so sweet.
But as a teenager, we started dreaming together, and we began trying ideas in our 20s, and finally landing something in our 20s that became life changing. But we always, in our hearts, knew that business ownership would be there. I may say, the the straight answer I normally give folks is I'm buying my freedom. I like controlling my time as much as I can. And I remember being a young woman, fresh out of college, young mother, young wife, um, working for someone. And I remember the first time I was told I could not leave and go and handle something at my daughter's school.
Oh, wow.
It did not set well with my heart. It did not set well with me. Being a young and a new mother, I was like, "What do you mean I can't go?" And she needs me. The school's calling. Well, no, we need you here. And that was a crossroad for me, Cami. That's why I say, controlling my time. That was a crossroad. I'm like, hold on, I can't do that. Now, that was a motivator for me. It may not motivate everybody the same way, but for me, I'm like, no, I'm not going to be asking nobody to go to my kid's school. I'm not going,
Right, right.
So at that time, that was a big motivator for me to be a small business ownership. Now, of course, that idea has developed over the years because there's so many parts of business ownership that you learn along the way that especially give back and helping other people and your calls altogether. Why are you in business and what problem are you solving? Of course, I learned all those things along the way. But initially, to be honest, I wanted to control my time as much as
Yeah,
I could. So
yeah,
I was
and that's
buying my
important
freedom.
too. That's
Man,
important because trying to do a business and work, it's hard.
yeah.
It's hard, and we're all experiencing it, and we all are ready to, just to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And
So it's
so,
amazing. So what motivates you, T?
outside of my family, which is my number one motivator, as you see, controlling my time so I can have more time with my family. Um, that question has actually matured over the years too because of exposure and more experience of the world around me. Now being in my 50s, it's like what's your true motivation? What haven't you seen? Because there's nothing new under the sun. So when I boil it down, it's the world around me, Cami. Just like you, and you being one of those amazing people. God has brought some amazing people in my life over the years, some situations, some amazing opportunities for me to be motivated by. That if it's a social justice issue or a human rights issue or a woman's rights issue or somebody's dreaming a dream or doing something that I didn't even know could be possible of dreaming. All of those things are, are are motivators to me. I get motivated by that. So now my motivations are more than just a blanket statement. Oh, my family motivates me. Yeah, my family it really does. They
It's
do
that, yeah.
motivate me. But the world around me has become my motivator. Just
Mhm.
seeing what's going on in the world and how as a a business and community strategist and a community organizer, thinking of how I can do more for the good of humanity. And that's what more of my motivation comes from at this stage in my life,
Right.
as a golden girl.
So, so T, what inspires you though? I mean, what motivates the motivator? What inspires you?
But and that's a big question too, because we all need, I have several mentors. I have people in different genres. I have people in different situations, from a young person that I glean from, because they understand this world we're in, and especially world of technology. Oh Lord, holy smokes, let's not even talk about that. But from young people all the way up to, I think my oldest person that I glean from at this point, she just turned 99. And
Wow.
yes, ma'am. So from a baby down to, I'm a brand new nana of my grandson was born.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Was born February 9th. And I'm even learning from him, because he has some ways. I'm like, boy, you was just born a couple of weeks ago and you're already training us how to treat you. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a big lesson in it.
Diaper.
Yes. Oh, and this little joker, he pees in one diaper and poops in the other. He will not do them together. So let's, figure
Oh
that
my
out.
gosh.
I don't know. We're trying to figure out the lesson in that. But he's a two fur diaper change when we change him. But anyway, I learned from him on people how to
You
treat
got to
you.
have another diaper ready because before she.
That's right. We already know his routine, honey. All the way up to So I think it's very important to keep people around you that inspire you all the time. So I get it from a plethora of people, including you, Cammie, just watching you and how you did start small in your home, and now boom, you have this studio where you are opening it up to the community, where other people that may have the dream of doing what you're doing can come and model that. So that's an inspiration to me. So I get my inspiration from so
Thank
many
you.
different places, and it keeps me going.
Well, thank you so much. Hey, and all the mess ups and the what got us here, from the beginning, and
Yes.
it's amazing. We look back. I mean, especially DJ T Nice. He's the one who pointed out. He goes, "Do you remember?" And he wasn't even around when I was at home, but
Oh,
when I got my
wow.
first spot at the
Right.
ocean front, and I was in
Right.
the reception
I
area,
remember that.
and
I
cut the
remember.
light off on me.
Yep.
So I mean, he goes back. He thinks about that when I'm feeling down. When I'm feeling like, okay, I'm feeling defeated here. He knows how to motivate me.
But
Remember
those,
that office with the window? Kimmy,
yeah.
now you have an executive office. Now you have a studio.
Yes.
He keeps me grounded, and I
And you
love
know
him
what?
for
Those
that
those
because
mistakes, you say they're mistakes, but I say they're opportunities to learn, because every business owner has had several failures for one success,
yeah,
and those mistakes is what's helped you to be stronger in your business now, and giving you the motivation to even help someone else, because you've created a space for others. So I wouldn't see them as mistakes per se. I see them as opportunities for growth. And you've look how you've grown.
thank you. And see how she twisted me up on that. That's why she's my mentor. That's why she's my femtor because she knows how to get me back on track. I have a male one here. You met him. He sort of try to keep me in line too.
That's good. You got a yin and a yang. All right.
Yeah, I got a yin and a yang. Okay, so let's talk about family since we're talking about
Okay.
family right
All
now.
right.
Let's
Okay.
talk about family. You have a very good support system,
Oh my gosh.
and your better half. Let's talk about that.
Yes, 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 yes. My husband and I, we are friends first. And that was another thing that a little bit of wisdom I gave to my grandson when he asked me, how old we were when we got together, and he was saying, I don't know if I'll be that lucky. I said, I'm happy that for my path in my life and all the things that I have to do while I'm here on the planet, I'm happy that I did. Um, Meet my husband young, We didn't know we were going to be husband and wife, of course. We were friends. We are friends first, and thank God that we are friends because it makes it easier in our walks and what we do. We don't second guess each other. Even if we don't understand something, we know it's our friend who's doing it. So we trust our friend, So we've been in it's so difficult for us. We've been so intertwined for so long. It's difficult for us to see anything, even if it's a project that he's doing, I always get behind it. If it's a project I'm doing, he always gets behind me. We know how to be in the shadows of each other. We know how to be beside each other. We know how to be right there with each other and strategize with each other. So for me, having that support is everything. And then having a support of friends, that we call family, our family, that are in the wings, that are right there, that you can call and be like, girl, I need this, and there's no questions asked. It's all right, I'm on my way. you know
Right. Where you
or
at? Yeah,
where
pulling
you
up.
at? Yeah, or girl, like one of my girlfriends, Dr. Gibbs, she called us one time and said, girl, I need some help. During the pandemic, when they were doing the vaccinations, so I need some help. I was like, okay, I got some smocks. I'm gonna be a nurse today.
That's how you do it. That's
Yeah,
exactly how you do it.
look, you gotta have those friends, the jack up friends. You gotta have the hook up friends. You gotta have the friends that'll be what you need them to be. And when folks say that they, I get nervous when I see folks say, I did this by myself. I'm out here on my own. Well, then you're not gonna get us so far, because there's a saying that an old saying that no man is an island, and we all need someone. We all need somebody, that if it's the family that you were biologically brought into, or if it's
Exactly.
the family that you choose,
Mhm.
we all need someone. So there's no way I could do what I'm doing, Cammy. I, point blank period. I couldn't do any of this if I didn't have a great support systems with family and friends I consider family.
Yeah, yeah, and I totally agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree. I tell my guys, I appreciate you. Or they always say, "No, you don't," but everybody else, they believe me.
Right, right, right.
So okay, so let's share the initiative of how all this came about with your business, and you know what you're doing in the community with these women, these phenomenal women.
Yeah.
How did that all come about?
Well, sometimes when you don't have something, um, that there's a motivator right there. There's a passion right there. Um, a lot of what we do, Lawrence and I do, it's like we put a comma in it. It's never a period, because something always grow outside of that next thing and the next thing. You're like, oh, well, here's this thing that needs to happen, or this problem that needs to be solved. We basically, everything that we do is a problem that needs to be solved first. But secondly, it's if we didn't have it, it's what we wanted to have, or what we felt like we needed. It came about because we didn't have what we needed, so we had to create it. One of our case in point, our small business initiative. When we first started, we're what we we coined ourselves first generation business owners.
Hmm.
Um, of course, we had folks in our family that might had a few side hustles, or even had a profession where they were one man show. Because we had an uncle that was a plumber, and he had his own plumbing company. We had an uncle that had janitorial company, and I don't know anybody that don't have someone in the family that does hair. I even tried to do.
Right.
I was going to do hair one time, so
I do wigs.
yeah, you do it, I mean, so everyone, we all may have come from hustle families or hustle mentality, but business ownership and entrepreneurship is a different beast when you're thinking about hiring and other people, and you have to learn about the IRS, and you have to learn about insurance, and all those extra things that you may not have gotten along the way. So we didn't have that information and that knowledge. We just knew we wanted to be business owners.
Right, right.
And so what we didn't have, we created. And sad to say, back in that day, Lawrence and I went into business in we first started in the early 90s, but you know how you try stuff
Mhm.
until and
It's some
again, there were
mistakes.
opportunities to learn. I
Mhm.
won't say failures, but all of that were opportunities for us to build on where we are now. I mean, then finally in the late, 1990s, we finally landed a business that we still operate today, and that's how we raised our kids. But in the beginning, we didn't have help, Cami. We didn't even have anyone we could call for mentorship. And the few people that we did call, that are in the same field that we were going into, didn't make us feel welcomed. We felt like that they thought we were going to take their business or somehow, and we were like, we're kids. We're in that at that time we were in our 20s. We're like, we're kids, and you're older. What, we can't even stand to you yet. We're just getting started. So we felt like we would never wanted anybody to feel that way. So
Mhm.
once we got ourselves to a place where we felt like we knew something, and we could share, and we were getting out of the grind of it, and our business was running itself, we decided to develop mentorship program to help other small business owners. We initially started out with helping people in the healthcare field like us, just get started and go through licensing processes with the state, because that's a whole ball game as well. That's like getting your PhD, trying to get a license through the state of Virginia. But so we started initially by just doing consulting and coaching in that area, and then it grew. Again, one problem stems another problem. It grew
Mhm.
to actually developing a whole educational program, which we run today in our building, which again, that building came out of
Mhm.
out of a need for small business owners to have a place to start.
Right.
So we started a co-work building, and now we have three. So everything builds on something else. If it's not there, we like, okay, well, let's is it feasible for us to start it? All right, let's start it. So all of it was building upon something else. So basically we started mentoring and then educating small businesses, and then now housing and educating and mentoring small businesses in one spot, because we didn't have that.
Right. Right. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about lips a little bit.
Okay.
So you founded the movement, and you called it Lips. What does Lips
Mhm.
mean?
Okay, so this movement is particularly for women. I know now with the it's Women History Month, so let's do it. Um,
Yes.
LIPS is called Ladies Impacting Professional Systems, and again, out of a need for women to get that support and that camaraderie of other women going into business, or you might necessarily be a business owner. You could be an executive or in a leadership position of some sort. There
Mhm.
needed to be, in my heart, there needed to be a place for that. There needed to be a place for women to come together and have a safe place to ask questions. And again, because we didn't get that,
Mhm.
to ask questions, to get educated. So we started out, it's funny, I want to say we started somewhere around 2016. I can't even remember now, because the pandemic has taken some of my time. But we started out meeting in our local restaurant in Newport News. Yeah, that about 8 or 9 years ago, in a local restaurant in Newport News, City Center, Newport News, just pulling women together. And then it grew so much, and we were pulling women together. We were bringing in guest speakers to talk about different things like banking and insurance, and all types of things
Mhm.
that business
Things
owners,
that people need. Yeah.
that people needed to hear about. And then people were pursuing us and said, "Hey, I hear you got a group of women you meet with." At that time, every 2 weeks. I don't know how I did it, but it was every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, like I need another a meeting. Can I get on your program? It gotten to that point where we had a list of people that wanted to come out and speak and educate our women. So it started off, at a local restaurant where we met and we educated. We we met to encourage each other. That particular local restaurant loved it because they blocked a whole section off for us. They know they were going to have at least 25, 35 women, on that
Buying
every other
food.
Tuesday buying food. You know what I mean? So they welcomed us with open arms. We had no problems blocking that restaurant every 2 weeks. And we had no problems getting the guest speakers and people to come in. So it started off at that. And then it moved on to, okay, let's go a little deeper and help these women with foot traffic and marketing. And so we started doing business mobs. So we would show up. We shifted from the restaurant to showing up at a business if they had a storefront or an office, and go and learn about that business. So that business they would host, and they would have the hors d'oeuvres, and they would give us the space, and we would go shop and give them a good day, and just to be supportive, and
Yeah.
go live and tell everybody to come by, so then the pandemic, of course, happened, and we kind of had to shift, and we started shifting to, let's get together virtually, and then we all got virtually burnt out, and now we're now we're rebuilding again to I did a survey a few months ago saying, hey, you guys want us to start coming back out, and women do want us to start coming back
Yeah,
out.
because that was fun.
It
I
was,
can't be enough to tell any of that. It was fun.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
get it back.
And yeah, so we have a platform on Facebook with over 1,000 women. I think it's about 1,300 women on there now, business owners and leaders, and they, pretty much go on there and just try to form relationships and market their businesses. So we'll start, and that's a good place for me to also, when I'm doing different events in the community, to kind of post and just let people know things are going on, and people show up, and
Yeah.
it's so exciting when I meet folks. They're like, oh, I'm on your page. I finally got to meet you in person, because there's some folks that that are on that page I haven't met. They're all over the country, or
Yeah.
different cities around the 757. So it's exciting when they show up to an event, or we all show up to an event that was posted, and we get to meet each other.
Yeah. It's amazing too, because I've met again through the posting, because we could post our events. And
Yes.
so that helps a whole lot. So people, I mean, please, if you have a small business, you need to get on the LIPS page, and you
Yes.
really do.
Ladies Impacting Professional Systems, aka LIPS.
I absolutely love it. Okay, so you have another thing that you're doing. Let's
Mhm.
talk about the civics.
Okay, let's talk civics. All right, so that came out of that initiative. We just started it back in November, and we kicked it off with Delegate Jackie Glass. So again, Lawrence and I, we're very active in the NAACP. In fact, Lawrence is the president for York, James City County, Williamsburg. He has 3 localities under him. Um, um, NAACP, and I'm on the executive leadership team, and I'm also the co-chair for Women in the NAACP, and I'm also in the political action. I kind of like a bit of politics, who knows where my world will go in as I get older, but I like politics, and I realized just from doing one of our initiatives where we try to get people to register to vote and encourage people to register to vote, that a lot of women, and I don't think um, it's unique to women. I think it's people in general, because of the way we were, our education system is. But I love women, so and my focus is women. So I realized a lot of women didn't even know what the issues were, didn't even know, just basic things about elections. And so I talked with my women in the ACP group and said, hey, let's come together and do a civics. Let's talk civics series. So we got a 12-part series. We've done 6 so far. It's going to lead up until election day, where we've had different speakers come out and just educate us. Like Delegate Jackie Glass, she kicked it off, and she came and talked to us about what goes on at the General Assembly. What are they doing? What are they doing, these elected officials, when they get there on our behalf? What does that look like? What are our rights? A lot of people didn't even realize you could go up there and you could sit and you can listen and you could lobby, or you could talk to your delegates, your senators, your Congress people. People just didn't know that you had that right past voting. So she came in and she broke that down, and she showed us how to go online and look up what bills are on deck, and what's been vetoed and what's been passed. And, so that's the series. We've had city council members come in and talk about what it's like to campaign. People don't realize you have to campaign for certain positions in the city, and it costs money. And that's why a lot of people don't do it, because it costs a lot of money to campaign and to put mailers out in the market and knock on doors and pull a team together. So these are things that, unfortunately, we don't, and maybe we weren't listening in school or high school. And as adults, life gets us and we just don't think about it. So we're just thinking about it and consciously thinking about it so that folks can just have a better understanding of our political system. So that's what Let's Talk Civics is all about.
Well, I like that too because I remember we went to a restaurant and I met Sabrina Wooten.
Yes,
Sabrina Wooten.
she's a
And so,
wonderful.
and she was like, "Oh yeah, she's in your area because you're in Virginia
Yeah,
Beach." And I was like, "Okay, now I know who I'm dealing with now." And so
yeah,
it was amazing to be able to meet people like that in that social networking platform that you have built for us.
yes.
And so again, it's powerful and it's very instrumental.
And she
And
follows lips too. It's
yeah,
funny because I was going over to your side of the water so much and supporting Sabrina that she thought I lived in Virginia Beach. The girl, I can't even vote for you, but because you're a sister doing something positive, I'm telling people to come and I'm coming. And she was like, "Oh my God, I thought you lived here." No, ma'am, I don't live here, but that doesn't mean I can't support you. Same thing with
right,
Delegate Jet Glass. That's how I
right.
met her when she was running for school board a few years ago. I saw their posts and I say, "Hey, let's rally behind the sister," because I know it's difficult for us, especially in those type of positions. So you
Hmm.
don't have to be in my town for me to be your girlfriend.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Stuff like that. That is why you're here today,
Oh,
because again, being the shero that you are, I mean, it's who would have thought, right? You
yeah,
know, who would have thought? And so just to do, like I thought maybe, you've been knowing her for a long, long time and this and that. But see, now I'm hearing the story how you met her, and
yeah,
and when you introduced me to her, it was like, hi, everything was just like girlfriends.
yes,
That's the only feeling I got from the whole thing. This was so cool. We were at a
yeah,
girlfriend's shop and she was getting ready to open up the barbershop area,
yeah,
remember?
yeah.
And it
See?
was amazing. And now look at her. She's all
Yeah,
over everywhere doing
she's
things on
blown
her
up.
own side.
So
And
that's what
so,
it's all about. But it's all about us helping each other, supporting each
exactly.
other, getting up underneath each other. And it may not be my business, but I'm there smiling and grinning and cheesing as if it is, because I feel if you win, I'm winning, sister. We're all winning this thing together. So that's my thing. That's what I love to
I
do. I
love
love
it.
to support.
I absolutely love it. And so let's go back to you have a series and it's girl what you gonna do with your money?
My book,
What's
yes.
That's your book.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us
Mm-hmm.
about your book because we got a guy here that's always talking about financials,
Ah,
money,
yes, yes,
and
yes,
I'm sure
yes.
he want to hear this part of the segment.
Yes. Well, let me tell you something again. Okay, going back to solving a problem, and we're always doing something. My husband and I always doing something because of a situation in our life. I've always been intrigued. Now, mind you, I'm not a financial major. I'm a counselor, but anyway, I went to school to be a counselor. But I love numbers and I love finance and I love dollars and cents. Probably, motivation for me being a business owner too. And I've always been a bit of very conscious about my money and how I spend. And I've always, read a lot of books and a lot of articles and followed a lot of patterns, talked to a lot of older people about financial matters and money matters. And although it's like talking about one of my clients says sex, it's like talking about that. It's taboo because people, you don't talk about money, you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about religion. You know how we were raised.
Hmm.
But those barriers are slowly coming down in life, where we are talking about money, we are talking about politics, we are talking about our faiths and respecting it. So that book was birthed because of my love for talking about money matters and just scenarios and situations around me with my girlfriends. It's so funny because I tell a series of stories in the book wrapped around financial principles that have worked for me. And it's funny because when I did the book launch back in 2018, my girlfriends were like, I had them to read certain passages from it at the book launch. They're like, oh, she think we don't know she talking about us. It was so funny. They say, but this is I'm Brenda. I'm this because of course I changed the names. I never told nobody. This is your scenario. If you fit in there, any girlfriend could fit in there. It didn't have to be you. But they started telling on themselves at the book launch, Cammie. It was hilarious. Because and I never said this is you. But anyway,
You
uh,
know, if the shoe fits where, if you feel like you're being pointed at, it's you.
that's right. I'm like a comedian. I get all look. I get all my content from the people around me. But anyway, so just and also in my coaching practice, one of the first things that we do when I sit down with business owners, especially starting budding business owners that are getting ready to get started, we have to talk about money. That was one of the first things we had to talk about because you got to have budget. You've got to have a foundational plan for starting your business. You cannot start a business broke. You can't start it with no money. So we always got to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is what is the state of your finances? Because if you want to grow to outgrow your business where you are employing people, you've got to be able to manage that, because people are not going to understand, oh, I don't have enough money to pay you.
Right,
Honey, tell
right.
me, that's a quick way to go out of business and to get a lawsuit. So we always have to talk about money. So this book was birthed out of a lot of scenarios from the world around me, as well as for my love of discussing money matters. I feel like, when I come from a long line of women that made $1 out of 15 cents, honey, and we made it do what it do. I've picked up some great principles along the way, although we didn't have a lot of conversation in my family, like sitting down strategizing, but
Mhm.
there were a lot of lessons that I picked up and learned, good and bad, that I picked up along the way that I wanted to share with women in general. And so it's turned into a financial literacy movement for me, and that I'm also a part of an investment group where that's exactly what we do as well. We educate women on financial matters and promote financial literacy in women.
I love it. So our time's starting to roll down. So a
All
couple
right.
things more I want to ask you. So what's the future? What's next for you, T?
Well, to continue doing what I'm doing, strengthening what I'm doing, um, I don't ever see myself not uh, being in business of some sort, even if I'm not there 100%, like I'm not 100% in most of my businesses.
Hmm.
Have some great people that we've employed over the years that are doing a great job running our companies. Um, but I'm always going to be a business owner. I'm always going to be out here uh, championing women. I'm always going to be prayerfully writing books, all because I got to leave that footprint for my grandchildren. And
Absolutely.
yeah, if I'm blessed, I'll see great grandchildren. And if I'm blessed like my grandmother, I'll see great great grandchildren because my grandchildren are her great great grandchildren.
Hmm.
So if I'm blessed, I'm always going to continue to write because I want to make sure that my generations behind me have a blueprint. And that was one of the reasons for writing Girl, What You Gonna Do with Your Money, and Girl, What You Gonna Do with Your Money for Teens, and Girl, What You Gonna Do with Your Money for kids. And my husband wrote Mind on My Money for men. We have a whole series for family. That was a purpose of that, is to take away those taboos. So we'll just continue doing that over time. Not necessarily to be a best-selling author, but to put a footprint, if that comes, and that comes, but to put a
Hmm.
footprint in the earth for generations to come. So that's where my future lies, is to continue to do what I'm doing, answer the call, whatever it is that God says, that if it be um, you know whatever, I open myself up. I give myself away to be used by the higher power. So
I love it. Absolutely love it. So, words of wisdom. What can you give to a businesswoman or someone who's inspired to be where you are right today?
listen, for me, it is complex less yet simple. Complex in the sense of it's so simple that it's difficult for people to do. And that is to just remain true to yourself, operate as your authentic you in truth and transparency. If you always operate as your authentic you never have to think about being or doing anything else. Back in the day, in my household growing up, I was told that if you tell a lie, you got to tell another lie to fix that
To
lie.
cover the, yeah,
And you got
yeah.
to remember all the lies,
Hmm.
But if you operate in your true, authentic self, you never have to remember because you're always being you, no matter what. So that's my greatest piece of wisdom to anyone, especially operating in business. Be authentic.
I love it. Absolutely love it. So tell people how to get in contact with you.
TajuanaGholson.com is going to get you to me. There's also a contact me page on there where you can put your information in and it'll come right to my email. And then you can also find me on social media platform. Facebook is where I rested a lot because y'all, I'm older. Instagram is a little faster than
That's
me.
our page.
But I go there more. My social media uh, people behind the scenes that post for me when I have events and stuff, they go on the other pages. But if you want to actually talk to me, sometimes hit me on Facebook because that's where I am and the old people at. So but I'm not hard to find.
Wonderful. Well, T, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank
This
you.
wrapped up our season for
Yay.
International Women's Month, Black
Yay.
History Women Month. You have just been the icing on top of the cake. I've been looking forward to this the whole entire time. So
Oh,
thank you so much for sharing your words of wisdom, your nuggets of wisdom to what for everyone, not just for me, but for the community, for our platform. People are listening today. And guys, it's not just for women. The stuff that she's given us, it's for everyone. It's for every small business. So don't just, even though we're all about the girl power and all that, it
yes.
still applies to the men. It still
Yes.
applies to the men. And her husband is, again, this is a power couple. So you still need to follow her and find out about what Mr. G has to offer because he
Yeah.
has a whole bunch of stuff going on as
Yeah.
well.
He's a strong man.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So, guys, until next year, Girl Talk International Women's Month. Next March, we'll be here with some powerful people, seeing what they're doing. And we know we got to follow up with this lady again. And so, thank you so much, T, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me again. And thank you guys for listening today.
All right, love it. Until next time, SKST Radio, guys. Tell them bye.